Hello, I'm Rafe Griffin and we're out at the Queensland Sports and Athletics Centre for the launch of the Champion of Champions competition that will involve teams from Football Brisbane, Football Gold Coast, Sunshine Coast Football and the Southwest Queensland Zone. Now let's get the players' perspective on the competition. We have Rebecca Price, former Brisbane Roar and current club captain of the Gap Football Club in the South East Queensland Premier League, as well as Scott Nicol, former Brisbane striker, NSL's player and currently player and co-coach of Peninsula Power with us. Scott, first of all, Power's not actually playing in this competition, but would you be excited if you had a chance to play in this competition with other community level teams?
Definitely. I think as players want to play games. That's what it's all about. That's why we play. The game is for competition. You know, there's only so much training that boys and girls want to do. So at the end of the day, to get more competitive games into our team is what it's all about, and it doesn't matter sort of what level you're at. People love to play, so I know our boys would love to be in any cup competition or any competition they get to play in. We take everything seriously, so for me it's a fantastic concept and one that I think will work really well.
And I guess, Rebecca, in a similar way, this gives the women another opportunity to play a cup competition as well.
Absolutely, and I think the game's for everyone, and engaging the community and having the community be able to play these sort of competitions and see else, you know, what is in the other areas around South East Queensland is really important, and particularly for the girls. There are a lot of girls who don't get recognition for playing, and perhaps that aren't playing in the SEQ League, but are good players and should be given the ability to play against each other. And I think this is a great initiative for that.
That's the senior level. I know you're also involved at coaching at the junior level. What benefits do you see at that level as well?
I think that it's just another step in the maturity of the game within Brisbane and within South East Queensland and Queensland moreover, that we have broader competitions for people, so that, you know, coming into the game there's more options, I guess, for families and for young people playing the game. And I think from a development level it's about providing another platform for players to show their ability, I guess. A lot of young players don't develop in line with each other, they sort of develop along the way as they go, and I think it's important to offer them a platform for perhaps the late developers.
Well, we're joined by representatives from a couple of the regional zones. First of all, Daniel from the Gold Coast. The Gold Coast zone has a large representation. Do you think that might give you an advantage in this competition with the number of players that you can sort of choose from?
Absolutely. A couple of years ago we sort of redeveloped our Junior Premier League top division, limited the amount of teams that are in there, which in turn makes better players and more competitiveness. So I think in doing that, we've now created a more competitive zone, which will then, when we do bring the teams up here, they'll be able to compete on a better level.
And Sunshine Coast, one of the smaller zones, Damien, but I know the men's competition in particular up there is very strong and a lot of competition. Even though you may be a small zone, will that added competition help you in your quest against some of the bigger zones?
Absolutely. I think playing against, I guess, stronger opposition will obviously make you a better player. So I think playing against all the other regions would obviously help us a lot.
And Courtney, I know there's a lot of interest in the women's women's competition up there. How do you feel it'll assist the competition by playing against these other zones?
Well, we all know that the Sunshine Coast hasn't got the amount of players that compared to other regions that we will be competing against. So hopefully this will help improve the amount of players that are on the coast and make it more popular for girls to join.
And we caught up with some of the administrators involved in the competition to get their views on this exciting format. Well, from left to right, we're joined by Damien Bresic, Gold Coast Football General Manager, Tony Davis, Sunshine Coast Football President, Rob O'Connor, Football Brisbane President, Mike Cornby, Football Brisbane Chief Executive Officer, and Ben Mannion, Chief Operations Officer of Football Queensland. First to you, Mike, where did the Champion of Champions concept come from?
Well, first of all, today we've just been filming outside and I can see the passion's already started with this competition, this cup, and we haven't even started it yet. The concept come from New South Wales, which I was in a former life. It's been down there since the 1970s, and it's really the strongest community championship competition in New South Wales. So we're really looking forward to getting it up and going here in Queensland.
And what will be the eligibility criteria for the competition?
Yes, it's based on a community-based results. So the premiers of the under-12s through to the under-18s for boys and girls, and for the seniors are eligible once they win their premierships to come into the Champion of Champions to play against the other zones. Which, although we're colleagues and friends at the moment on this table, I can see it's going to be a great rivalry once we start getting going.
Damien, to you, what's been the general feel on the Gold Coast from the football public, the supporters, the players, the clubs?
Generally excitement. It allows our clubs to pit themselves against people that don't normally see or play against or view. So there's general excitement there. There's just to see how you go. I mean, it's one thing winning the comp in your own backyard, but to be able to play against somebody on the Sunshine Coast or Brisbane and just to see where you actually stand in the whole scheme of things will be exciting. And hopefully the Gold Coast will show it's better than the rest.
Ben, I guess we haven't seen a competition like this in Queensland before. What's Football Queensland's view on this competition?
Oh, we're very excited by it. You know, we've been in consultation with Mike and his team since day dot, and we've already seen the banter started between the zones, which has been great, and we're really looking forward to seeing how it goes in its first year, and we're hoping that it grows to something bigger and better with other zones coming in at a later date.
Tony, we've talked about the banter already so far. How does the Sunshine Coast look forward to working with the other zones in this competition?
We're used to beating the Gold Coast, but the kids are so excited. You know, they've heard about the competition at club level. All the clubs are behind it, and the kids you talk to on Saturday, they all want to become minor premiers or premiers so they can play against the Gold Coast, South West, and Brisbane.
Rob, I understand that there's been many clubs within Football Brisbane who will host the finals, who have expressed an interest in wanting to host that final. What do you think the finals on that day will bring to the club that eventually hosts the competition final?
Yeah, that's correct. Mike and his staff here at Football Brisbane have got a hard task, I suppose, to come up and decide which is the club that we will hold the finals at, because in the end, this club that holds the finals here in Brisbane, it's going to create some great exposure. Football Brisbane is expecting thousands of people to be there on the day, and the club that hosts these games will see clubs and teams from around the southeast corner playing their games, and it should be an exciting final series.
Mike, as we can see on the table, we've already got a sponsor for year one of the competition. That must be exciting that you've got a sponsor coming on board.
So really so proud, you know, especially it's in its infancy, you know, the first year, the inaugural year, and Youth Sport have come on board, not asking for anything, but they've just come straight on board with us, and it's been fantastic. Not just for 1 year, but they've signed up for 2 years, and no doubt that we hope that they're going to be with us for a long time. So they've been a great supporter of this already.
And how many teams will compete in year one of the competition?
In its first year, we're going to have 44 teams from the juniors up to the seniors. And as Rob said, this may expand in future years to other zones. But in its first year, 44 teams.
To you, Tony, what benefits do you see for each of the zones? Of course, they'll each host one day in the round robin series. What benefit do you see to the zone? Of course, we're going to have juniors and seniors playing on the same day.
Obviously, as it's already been indicated, the club who hosts it will have a tremendous financial benefit, okay, because people will probably turn up there early in the morning or be there to watch first grade late at night. But for the families who are involved, they get an extra 4 weeks of football. They're only paying the one registration for the year, but they'll get an extra 4 weeks of football, and kids love to play football. So that'll be great.
Damien, I'll pose this one to you, but anyone feel free to jump in. What do you hope the football community will say about the champions by the time we get to the grand final and the competition has concluded?
That it was a huge success, and that they're eagerly waiting for the 2015 version. So, look, the beauty of this comp is it's not a rep-based system. I mean, before, you know, we had a rep system. This is a club thing. So we bring that not only zonal tribal involved, but club tribal, because Gold Coast might be represented by 6 or 7 different clubs playing against different clubs. So there's that patriotic stuff from your zone as well as the club level. So I think it's just going to be great, and you know, we can't wait for it. So
I'd like to add to that in the past it looks like everybody is working for their own in terms of their own zones or Football Queensland themselves. This brings everybody together, and I think it'll show everybody in Queensland that we are truly working together as one to make sure that we value add to the competitions that Queensland has already.
So Tony, you're expecting that other clubs who aren't necessarily but will be participating on the day will come behind the other Sunshine clubs competing on the day?
Oh, of course, yeah, of course. But I just want to say something about Mike's comment. It does show that all the zones are working together, and we can only be really strong when all the game comes together. And in the last 2 or 3 years, the zones are working really well together, and with Football Queensland. So this is the culmination of that. I think it's important to our game.
And if I could just pass one more comment on to wrap up what all these gentlemen have said, and that is, I think every team participating from their respective clubs, from North Coast, Gold Coast, South West and Brisbane, they want to be crowned champion of champions. So we'd like to wish everyone the best of luck.
Well, certainly an exciting concept ahead. Thanks very much for your time today.